Hello, welcome to TOPHER'S Stories, where stories come alive. Please subscribe and share with friends. Now relax and enjoy the story. The music thumped so hard, Isabel could feel it in her chest. Neon lights danced across the ceiling of the luxurious beach house in Lekki, bouncing off diamond-studded champagne glasses, and the glistening bodies of Lagos elite. The party was invitation only. Of course, Isabel hadn't been invited. She tugged down the hem of her borrowed gold dress and walked in like she owned the place. Her cousin, who worked at the event decorator, had whispered the details and snuck her a fake pass. One shot at networking. One shot at escaping her struggling fashion hustle. Confidence, she whispered to herself. Walk like your designs are already on the runway in Paris. Heads turned as she glided through the crowd, not because anyone knew her, but because she looked like someone important. That was the thing about Lagos. If you acted like a star, people believed you were. Who is she? Damien asked, lazily sipping his drink from the balcony above. His white linen shirt was unbuttoned just enough to reveal the tattoos trailing his collarbone. The city lights cast a soft glow over his rich, brown skin and sharp cheekbones. His friends followed his gaze. Never seen her before, but she's got fire. Damien smirked. She's not from our world. Which makes her dangerous, replied Leo, his best friend. Leave her alone. But Damien's eyes had already locked onto Isabel's. A slow, calculating smile curved his lips. I'll make her fall in love with me in 30 days. Don't be ridiculous, Leo scoffed. Damien tilted his head. Want to bet? ₦1,000,000 naira says she'll be mine. Publicly. Passionately. And if you lose? Another asked. Then I'll finance your bar idea, Damien said, turning away. But I won't lose. Isabel made her way to the bar, her eyes scanning the glittering crowd. She wasn't here to flirt. She needed a client. A break. Just one person who could believe in her talent. Sparkling water, please, she told the bartender, refusing to waste her nerves on alcohol. A smooth voice interrupted. Water? At a party like this? She turned and almost dropped her glass. It was him. Damien Blackwood, billionaire investor, tabloid heartbreaker. The man who had women literally fighting outside his penthouse last month. She'd seen him on TV. Everyone had. She forced a smile. Some of us are here for business, not bubbles. Damien raised an eyebrow. Interesting. And what business brings you here? I'm a fashion designer, she replied confidently. Isabel Cole. You'll know my name soon enough. I like that, Damien said, studying her. Ambition suits you. She shrugged. Well, I didn't come to be liked. He grinned. Then you're in the wrong place. Everyone here is either faking it, buying it, or selling it. And which one are you? He stepped closer, lowering his voice. None of the above. I just enjoy the show. As the night wore on, Damien didn't leave her side. Isabel told herself it was harmless. She didn't know he was watching her every move, storing her reactions like data, testing her. By midnight, he walked her out to the valet area. Do you want a ride? He asked casually. No, I'll call a cab. Damien's lips curled. Cabs don't come here this late. Let me drop you. She hesitated. I won't bite, unless you want me to. She rolled her eyes, but laughed. You're trouble. And you're bold, he replied, opening the door to his sleek black Mercedes. I like that. As she slid in, Damien knew the dare had begun. 3 days later, Isabel stood in her tiny studio apartment, surrounded by fabric scraps and unpaid bills. She'd replayed that night over and over. Damien's attention, the way he listened, the strange flutter in her chest. She hated herself for liking it. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Meet me at the Scarlet Rooftop. 4 p.m. D. She stared at the message. She should ignore it. She should block him. But at 3:45 p.m., she was in an Uber heading to Victoria Island. The rooftop was sleek, with white couches, glass railings, and a view that made Lagos look like a city out of a movie. Damien was already waiting, wearing a gray suit and sunglasses that probably cost more than her rent. You came, he said, standing. Curiosity is a powerful drug, she replied, sitting across from him. He slid a folder toward her. I have a proposal. She blinked. Excuse me? Pretend to be my girlfriend for 1 month. Publicly. Appear at events with me. Smile for the cameras. Act in love. She stared at him. Why? Because I need to distract the media. Investors are watching. They want stability. And nothing's so stable like a beautiful, grounded girlfriend. Isabel let out a short laugh. You think I'm grounded? I think you're smart. And not desperate to marry me. That makes you perfect. She pushed the folder back. I'm not interested in being your prop. I'll sponsor your fashion line. Damien said coolly. I'll give you 10 million naira to start. Her breath caught. I'll even wear your designs to events, he added. You'll be seen by everyone. Isabel's mind spun. That money could change everything. Her rent, her mother's hospital bills, her dream boutique. But selling herself? Pretending? She looked him in the eye. Why me? Because you're not like them, he said, serious now. You challenge me. You'd melt at my name. You got fire. And I want that. And what happens after 30 days? She asked slowly. Damien leaned forward. We walk away. No strings. Unless you want more. She narrowed her eyes. And what if I fall for you, huh? What if I'm a fool in the end? He paused, then said almost too smoothly, You won't be. They signed the contract the next day. Isabel insisted on clauses. No physical intimacy unless agreed. No sleeping over. No real gifts to sway her. Damien agreed too easily. The first event was that weekend. Isabel wore a red silk gown she made herself. When she walked on Damien's arm, cameras flashed like fireworks. People whispered. Reporters hounded them. Damien pulled her close. You okay? I'm pretending, remember? She replied through clenched teeth. But when he looked at her with those burning eyes, she felt it, real heat, and it terrified her. Later that night, in the backseat of the limo, Isabel stared out the window. You did good, Damien said. Better than I expected. I'm not an actress, she replied. No, he said softly. You're something more dangerous. She turned to him. Like, what? Someone I could lose control with. Silence fell. Tense. Charged. Isabel looked away. You better not. Damien chuckled. Too late. The private jet hummed softly as it soared above the clouds. Isabel looked out the window, stunned by how quickly her life had changed. A week ago, she was fixing broken zippers in a cramped studio. Now, she was flying to Morocco with one of the richest men in Africa. In a custom jumpsuit she designed herself. Damien leaned over from his seat. You okay? I still feel like I'm dreaming, she said, smiling. You're not, he replied. You're just finally living. She looked at him. His voice was soft, but his eyes were sharp, always watching. The next few weeks were a blur of destinations. Cape Town, Nairobi, Marrakesh. Each trip was more lavish than the last. They rode camels under the desert moon in Morocco, swam in an infinity pool overlooking the ocean in Zanzibar. Isabel was introduced as Damien's girlfriend at every event. The cameras loved her. Fashion bloggers began tagging her. Her Instagram exploded. She should have been happy, but something felt off. One night in Cape Town, they had dinner at a rooftop restaurant. Isabel wore a long emerald dress and Damien, as usual, looked like he'd stepped off a GQ cover. I feel like everyone's watching us, she said, sipping her wine. They are, he said, but they're jealous. She smiled, but her eyes flicked toward his phone on the table. It had buzzed 3 times in the last minute. He didn't check it. You can take the call, she said casually. It's nothing. But the screen lit up again. A name flashed. Ava. Isabel's heart paused. She recognized the name. Damien's ex. The one who had once tried to throw herself off his balcony after their breakup. Still talking to her? She asked. He glanced at the phone and shrugged. She's not over me. You could block her. He gave her a half smile. You're not jealous, are you? I'm not stupid. That's why I like you, he said, reaching for her hand. You're strong. You don't get caught up in all this. She forced a laugh. But deep inside, a seed of doubt had been planted. Later that night, Isabel stepped out of the shower in their hotel suite and saw Damien on the balcony, speaking angrily on the phone. "I told you this isn't the time," he snapped. "Don't call me again." Then silence. When she stepped outside, he turned quickly, stuffing the phone in his pocket. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Just business," he said. "You look incredible." She let it go, but she noticed his glassy eyes, the half-empty bottle of whiskey, the slight tremble in his fingers. Was he high? No. She didn't want to believe it. That night, he made love to her like he was trying to forget something. Rough, passionate, almost desperate. Isabel lay in bed afterward, his arms wrapped around her, and stared at the ceiling. She was falling, fast, but something told her she wasn't flying. She was crashing. Lagos, 2 weeks later. Isabel rushed into her apartment, excited. Damien had just landed a massive partnership, and they were throwing a celebration party. She wanted someone to share the moment with. She called her childhood best friend. "Nicole," she said, breathless. "Guess what? I'm dating Damien Blackwood." There was a pause. "The Damien Blackwood?" Nicole's voice sounded amused. "Girl, are you serious?" "Dead serious," Isabel laughed. "Come to the party. I want you to meet him. Send the address. I'll be there." Nicole arrived 2 hours later, stunning as ever in a body-hugging white dress that sparkled under the lights. She had long legs, flawless skin, and a smile that could melt diamonds. When Isabel introduced her to Damien, his eyes flickered, just for a moment. "This is Nicole," Isabel said proudly. "My best friend since we were 10. Damien shook her hand. "Pleasure." Nicole smirked. "The pleasure's mine." Isabel didn't notice the way Nicole held his hand a second too long, or the way Damien watched her walk away. Throughout the party, Isabel was glowing. She was finally being seen. But Nicole kept finding ways to be close to Damien. She laughed at all his jokes, touched his arm when she talked, whispered things into his ear. Isabel started to feel invisible. Later, while pouring drinks, she overheard them in the hallway. "You're charming," Nicole was saying. "I can see why Isabel's hooked." "Isabel's different," Damien replied. "Different isn't always exciting," Nicole said softly. "You like excitement, don't you?" Isabel's heart pounded. She stepped away before they saw her. That night, Isabel confronted Damien in his car. "Do you like her?" He looked confused. "Who?" "Nicole," he sighed. "You're reading into things. She was all over you, and I said nothing, because I'm with you. But do you want to be?" Silence. "That's not even a fair question," Damien said finally. "Don't do this." She looked away, biting her lip. "Just don't lie to me. I can handle anything, except lies." "I'm not lying," he said, touching her hand. "You're the only one I want." But she saw it again, his phone lighting up in the dark. Nicole's name. The next morning, Nicole dropped by Isabel's apartment with breakfast and fake smiles. "You looked amazing last night," she said, peeling an orange. "And Damien, wow, you really upgraded." Isabel forced a smile. "Thanks." Nicole leaned forward. "But tell me the truth. Are you in love with him?" Isabel hesitated. "Because if you're not," Nicole continued, licking juice off her fingers, "I wouldn't mind borrowing him for a weekend." Isabel stared at her. "You're joking." Nicole smiled sweetly. "Of course." But her eyes said something else. That night, Isabel cried in the shower for the first time in weeks. Not because of Damien, but because she could feel it. Her best friend wanted him, and he might not say no. Isabel was in the middle of a client meeting when her assistant barged in, pale and panicked. "Isabel, you need to see this." "What's going on?" Isabel frowned, putting her sketch pad aside. Her assistant handed over her phone. The screen was open to Twitter. At first, Isabel didn't understand what she was looking at. Then she saw it. A video. Damien, Nicole, in a hotel room, half-dressed, laughing, kissing. Isabel froze. The caption read, Is this Damian Blackwood's real girlfriend? Poor Isabel. Hashtags were already trending. Hashtag Scandal Queen. Hashtag Damian and Nicole. Hashtag Fake Love. Her heart dropped. Her fingers went numb. No, this has to be fake, she whispered. But the room was spinning. The walls closed in. Her assistant's voice faded into the background. By the time she got home, the internet was on fire. Blogs, YouTube channels, TikTok gossip pages. Everyone had something to say. Isabel Cole gets played. Nicole strikes again, BFF to backstabber. Damian caught red-handed again. Even her fashion page was flooded with clown emojis and snake comments. Her phone rang. It was her manager. We're in trouble, the manager said without greeting. 2 sponsors already pulled out. They don't want to be associated with this drama. But I didn't do anything wrong, Isabel said in disbelief. They don't care, the manager snapped. Your image is messy now. They think you were part of a love triangle for clout. Tears welled in her eyes. I trusted him. I trusted her. Clean up the mess or step back. Those are your options. Isabel called Damian. He answered on the 3rd ring. Isabel, don't. Just don't, she snapped. I don't know how that video got out. But it's real, she said, voice breaking. That's you. That's Nicole. She came over drunk. Nothing happened. Don't lie, she shouted. There was silence. I didn't mean to hurt you, Damian said finally. It was a mistake. You are a mistake, she whispered and hung up. She tried calling Nicole. Switched off. She tried texting. No reply. Nicole had vanished. No social media. No calls. Ghosted her like she never existed. Isabel stayed in bed for 3 days. Curtains closed. Phone off. She cried until her face burned. Her dream, her dignity, her name ruined in one night. One morning, she stared at her reflection in the mirror. Eyes swollen. Skin dull. Heart shattered. Then she stood tall. No more tears, she whispered. They will regret this. 6 months later, Cape Town Fashion District. Rooftop runway. Media flashing. Music pulsing. And Isabel Cole? She was back, unrecognizable. Her hair was slicked back into a fierce ponytail. Her blood-red power suit shimmered under the lights. Her walk was no longer nervous. It was bold, dangerous. People whispered as she passed. Isn't that? Yes, that's Isabel Cole, the one who was cheated on. She looks amazing. She signed with Zama Designs, right? She's the face of their revenge collection. Her designs were louder, bolder. Every stitch screamed defiance. One of the gowns was titled Betrayal in Silk. Another was called Unfollow Me. Every piece told a story, and the audience ate it up. Backstage, her new manager handed her a phone. You're trending again. Isabel checked it. Her runway video had hit 1 million views in under 12 hours. Hashtag Revenge Looks Good in Red was the top hashtag on Instagram. Bloggers praised her as the queen of comebacks. Brands wanted to collaborate. Young girls were quoting her interviews. She had turned heartbreak into headlines, and this time she was in control. Later that evening, as she stood by the terrace sipping champagne, someone stepped behind her. She turned slowly. Damian. He looked different, thinner, eyes tired, but that same dangerous smile was still there. I saw your show, he said. She sipped her drink. Shame. You missed the best part, my exit. You look powerful. I am powerful, she replied coolly. He stepped closer. Can we talk? Just for a minute. She gave a short laugh. Talk? Now you want to talk. I messed up, he said. I thought I didn't care. But I did. I do. Isabel raised an eyebrow. You should have cared before your tongue ended up in Nicole's mouth. He flinched. I didn't sleep with her, he said quickly. Oh, wow. So I only lost my dignity online, not in private. Great. Thanks for the clarification. Damian sighed. I miss you. You missed the access, she replied. Not me? That's not true. You didn't just cheat, Damian. You made me a joke. And she, my best friend, made it viral. He swallowed. You've changed. Exactly, she said, stepping away. And you're no longer part of the story. That night, Isabel posted a photo of herself on Instagram. Red dress, wine glass, city skyline behind her. The caption, make sure they eat their hearts out watching you win. Damien saw it. And Nicole? Still silent. Still gone. But Isabel? She had become the woman they never thought she could be. Unbreakable. The rain poured over Cape Town, like it was trying to wash away every memory. Isabel stood by the window of her hotel suite, arms folded tightly around herself. She'd just finished another shoot for her new collection, but her heart was heavy, empty. The world saw her as strong now, but inside, the scars still ached. There was a knock on the door. She already knew who it was. Damien. She opened the door slowly. He stood there, drenched, a bottle of wine in one hand. Don't say anything, he said, breathing heavily. Just let me sit with you. She hesitated, then moved aside. They didn't speak for minutes. Just sat. The air between them was thick with all the things left unsaid. I shouldn't be here, she said softly. I shouldn't have let you go, he replied. He looked at her like he still belonged in her life, like her skin remembered his touch. I hate that I still want you, she whispered. And then, like a dam breaking, they crashed into each other. Their lips met with heat, hunger, and history. He kissed her neck like he was trying to erase her pain. She clawed at his shirt like she was trying to pull time backward. Their bodies knew each other too well. Every movement was reckless and raw. Clothes were ripped. Gasps filled the room. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't planned. It was pain, passion, punishment. When it was over, she lay beside him, bare and silent. I still love you, he said into the dark. But Isabel didn't reply. She was already regretting everything. The next morning, the regret turned into chaos. Isabel was checking out of the hotel when Nicole showed up, in heels, a silk dress, and a smirk. Well, Nicole said. I knew I'd find you here. Isabel's stomach dropped. What do you want? Nicole tilted her head. I came to talk. I didn't expect you to be sneaking around with him again. How do you even know? I know everything, Nicole said coldly. And I'm pregnant. The words hit Isabel like a slap. What? Nicole pulled out a sonogram photo from her purse. Yep, 8 weeks. Damien came downstairs at that exact moment, luggage in hand. He stopped when he saw them. Nicole! His voice tightened. Nicole turned toward him slowly. Surprise, lover. He looked between the two women. You're pregnant? Yes, Nicole said, eyes locked on Isabel. And it might be yours. 3 days later, Isabel sat across from Damien in a lawyer's office. She demanded the meeting. This is madness, she said. You need a DNA test. Now. Damien ran his hands through his hair. I know. She's playing games again. You think I'm going to just stand by while she drags us into another circus? I'm not defending her, Damien said. I'm doing the test. Good, Isabel snapped. Because if that baby is yours, I'm gone for good. There was silence. Then he reached for her hand. What if it's not? What if we can finally be free of her? She pulled away. Then you better prove it. Nicole showed up for the test in full glam, acting like a celebrity. I'll only do it if I get a copy of the results, she said. Fine, Isabel replied coldly. As long as you stop pretending like you don't know who the father is. Nicole laughed. Funny, you're still acting like you weren't just his rebound. You're the mistake he wishes he could erase. Isabel fired back. The test was taken. Everyone waited. 3 days later, Damien invited Isabel over. She walked in cautiously. He was holding an envelope. I haven't opened it yet, he said. She crossed her arms. Well, let's do it. He opened the envelope slowly. Read the results. Then froze. What does it say? Isabel asked, heart pounding. Damien looked up. It's mine, he whispered. Her stomach sank. You're sure? He handed her the paper. She read the words. 99.9% probability of paternity. Her hands trembled. No, no, she set this up. She wouldn't fake. Damien, she shouted. She's lied before. She's always lied. But he was quiet. Isabel grabbed her purse. I can't do this again. He followed her. Wait, don't go. Don't let this be the end. This is the end, she snapped. As she stormed out, her heel hit the edge of the stairs, and something fell from Damien's coat pocket, a crumpled napkin with handwriting. Isabel picked it up. It read, Bet, make her fall in 30 days. Under were Damien's initials and his friend Carter's. She stared at it, stunned, numb. What is this? She whispered. Damien turned pale. That's old. From before. Her eyes filled with tears. You never canceled it. All of this was a game. It started as a bet, he said quickly, stepping toward her. But it turned into something real. You're disgusting. Isabel, please. I didn't mean for it to go this far. She stepped back. You know what? She said, voice shaking. She can have you. The baby. The lies. All of it. She walked out. And this time, she didn't look back. The sun had barely risen when Isabel packed her final suitcase. She zipped it slowly, breathing in the silence of her apartment. Her first taste of freedom after months of chaos. Her phone buzzed again. Damien calling. She let it ring. She wasn't going back. Not this time. 3 weeks had passed since the DNA result, since the napkin, since everything came crashing down. Nicole paraded her pregnancy online like a crown, even doing interviews. It's not easy being pregnant with a billionaire's baby. But hey, someone's got to carry greatness, right? But then, karma came fast. One night, while scrolling through Instagram, Isabel saw the headline. Nicole Davis exposed. DNA test reported as fake. A whistleblower from the clinic had leaked a chat. Nicole had bribed someone to swap the test result. The baby wasn't Damien's. Isabel didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or scream. Instead, she closed her laptop, exhaled deeply, and smiled. She finally felt free. The next day, her manager called. Isabel, you sitting down? Should I be worried? No. You should be screaming. Milan wants you. Paris needs you. What? Global brand deal. They want to give you a full label line. Your name. Your designs. Front row at Fashion Week. This is big, Isabel. Her hand trembled. Are you serious? As a heart attack, Paris is waiting. 4 months later, the Eiffel Tower glistened as Isabel stood outside the showroom for her debut collection, The Rebirth. Flashing lights. Paparazzi. Her name on banners. Inside, editors from Vogue, Elle, and Harper's Bazaar waited. Models wore gowns inspired by betrayal, strength, and reinvention. Isabel walked onto the stage, wearing a flowing white dress with bold red stitching. The crowd rose to their feet. Cameras clicked. People screamed her name. But Isabel didn't hear the noise. She only heard her heart whisper one sentence. You chose you, and it was enough. Meanwhile, in Lagos, Damien stared at a bottle of whiskey. Alone. Nicole had vanished from the city after her lie blew up. Sponsors had pulled out. His company was under investigation. And Isabel? She had become the woman the world adored. One night, drunk and lost, he crashed his black Aston Martin into a street pole at 120 kilometers per hour. The news spread fast. Billionaire Damien Blackwood in critical condition. But he survived. Barely. In the hospital, with tubes down his throat and metal rods in his leg. He had weeks to think, to regret, to change. 1 year later, Lagos, the opening of the Isabel Cole School of Fashion and Creative Arts, was the most anticipated event of the season. Guests arrived in designer clothes. The walls were decorated with her boldest sketches. Students lined up for enrollment. A red carpet stretched across the courtyard. Isabel wore a gold Ankara jumpsuit with ruby earrings. Her hair was braided into a crown. She gave her speech with grace and fire. I was once told I'd never make it without a man, she said into the mic, but here we are. Applause thundered, but as she stepped down from the podium, she froze. because standing near the fountain was Damien. He wasn't in a suit. He wore a simple black shirt, faded jeans, and walked with a slight limp from the accident. No bodyguards. No ego. Just him. Isabel's heart raced. He walked toward her slowly. "Hi," he said. "Hi," she replied cautiously. "You look happy." 1 month later, a new fashion campaign lit up billboards across Lagos, Paris, and New York. Reckless love. Real designs. Isabel Cole ex Blackwood Studios. In the behind-the-scenes video, Damien stood beside her, hands off, eyes soft, as she gave all the orders. He wasn't in control anymore. She was, and somehow, they both found peace in that.